Hi, Room 41. Today we're going to continue working on measuring. We've learned how to use the metric system to measure length, liquid volume, and weight or mass. Today we're going to use what Americans use, which is the customary units of measurement. And we use that only here in America. So today you're going to apply your knowledge of our customary units of length to convert and explore fractional divisions of customary units of length. Wow. What we're saying is we're going to understand the customary units that we use, inches, feet, yards, and miles, and we're going to know how to find fractional pieces of those. So that's what we'll be working on based on our rulers, yardsticks, and miles. So let's just review. This is a good review from 2nd and 3rd grade. How many inches are in 1 foot? We know there are 12. How many feet are equal to 1 yard? Well, there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So how many inches is in a yard? Well, if there's 3 feet and each foot is 12 inches, 3 feet, 12 inches, 36 inches. So that last question, how many inches are in a yard, is 36 inches. So see how we're converting from foot to yard back to inches. So these are the symbols we use. Now when you're labeling your answers, these are what we use. If we want to indicate that it is an inch, we use IN. If we want to indicate that it is a foot or feet, we use FT. If we want to indicate that we are measuring yards, we use YD. And if we want to say that that was in miles, we use MI. That's the initials we use for our answers when we label them. All right, so review. 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in 1 yard. Now, here's the two numbers that get really crazy. 1,760 yards are in 1 mile. Also, that would mean that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And again, wouldn't it be nice if we could look at this and just have that times 10 bigger, times 10 smaller, like we did with the metric system? But the U.S. customary measurement system for length is not based on something is 10 times bigger than the last one. We have to memorize this, and we have to know these. So there's your cues to help you remember, just like our chart we use for the metric system, but you've got to know these ones. All right, so let's solve some of these. 9 yards equals how many inches? 9 yards, remember I can use YD, equals how many inches? Well, should I convert this to feet? There's 3 feet in each yard, and there are 9 yards. So that would be 3 times 9. That means there's 27 feet. Okay, so how many, again, how many inches is that? 27 feet and 12 inches in each foot. Got to do some multiplication, don't I? See how this is a little tougher than the metric system? If I have 27 feet times 12 inches in each foot, 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Done with the ones place. 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 2 is 2. So I have 12, carry 1. I have 324 inches in 9 yards. That's how we convert measurement in the customary system. Okay, let's look at the next one. Let me go back to the slide. Number 8 over here, there are 26 feet. How many inches is that? 26, down so you can see it, 26 feet equals how many inches? Well, 26 feet, 12 inches in each foot. Multiplication time again, 6 times 2 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. I'm done with my ones place, so I'm going to multiply the 1 times 6 and the 1 times 2. I'm going to add these up. 11. There are 312 inches in 26 feet. Again, this is what we have to do to convert using the U.S. customary measurement system. Oh my. 4 miles is how many feet? Wow. Okay, so we've got to look at this. There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. I need to figure this out 4 times. So let's do some multiplication again. 5,280 feet times 4 miles. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus the 3, that's 11. 4 times 5 is 20. Plus this 1 up here, 21. So, how many feet are in 4 miles? The answer is 21,120 feet. All right, and our last one for conversion on this page would be how many yards are in 2 miles? Right here. 1,760 yards is 1 mile, or 1,760 times 2. 2 times 0. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 2 times 1 is 2, plus that 1. There are 3,520 feet, 20 yards in 2 miles. So I did 1 mile is 1,760. I did that twice for 2 miles. That's how we use this to convert. So it does require us to use our mathematics skills and our strategies for multiplication. So keep that in mind as you work on this today. Now, the next thing that you're going to be learning in this section is making sure that you can read that ruler and know how to read all those tick marks in a ruler. So this is right out of your student activity book, and there is a ruler. Right now they're only showing you from 1 to 6 inches because a 12-inch ruler doesn't fit on your student activity book page. So make sure you understand that from 0 to 1, okay, there are 8 spaces between each whole inch that are separated by tick marks. You know what a tick mark is. We've used them before. If we start right here at 0, here's the next tick mark, but we're not counting tick marks. We're counting the space in between. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this inch is divided into 8 pieces, fractions. Think back to our fractions unit. So if there are 8 pieces, each of those would be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, that's 1/2. 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8 is 1 whole. So we use the tick marks, and we don't count the tick marks because that gets confusing. We're counting the space in between. That is 1/8 of an inch, 2/8 of an inch, 3/8, 4/8 of an inch, 5/8 of an inch, 6/8 of an inch, 7/8 of an inch, and 8/8 of an inch. So each section is 1/8 of an inch. We can count the number of whole inches and tick marks to do any kind of measuring. So make sure we know where 1/2 is located for each of our whole numbers. Halfway between our whole numbers is our 1/2. So we can find it easily between 2 and 3. Find it easily between 3 and 4. We can find half. However, 1/4 is half of 1/2. So think about this. Here's 1/2. 1/4 is half of that. Where is half of this 1/2 section right here? It's this line right here. Notice how the 1-inch line is the longest because it's the longest measure. The 1/2-inch line is the next longest tick mark. Then we have this 1/4 here, and also another 1/4 because 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. Then if we count every tick mark, those are eighths. So what you're going to be doing on the next slide is we're going to be measuring, looking at a ruler, making sure that we can read a ruler up through the 1/8 mark. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, we have rulers here all over the page. We're going to start here and we're going to read. We have our whole numbers 1, 2, 3. Then we count tick marks. 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4 eighths. But we should recognize that it's halfway between 3 and 4. So that is actually 3 1/2. You could count eighths, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, but 4/8 is the same thing as 1/2, and we want our fractions in the simplest form. Look at number 12. Here's 1 inch, 2 inches, then just count your tick marks. There's just one more tick mark after 2. So this is 2 and 1 of the eighths. That measurement is 2 1/8. Number 13, we're counting from 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going to make it to 5, okay? So if we count every tick mark, it's 1/8. So 4 and 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. This blue line stops at 4 and 5/8. For number 15, we're counting well above 5. So it's the whole number 5, and every tick mark is 1/8. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8. The orange line shows 5 and 6/8. And the last one. Now, this is the second half of the ruler. It's starting at 6. Okay, so this is 6, 7, 8, 9. But we don't make it to 10. We have 9, and what do you notice? It is halfway between 9 and 10. So it is 9 1/2. And that's how you use your fractions to measure length using the customary units of length. Now, if we were in the classroom, we'd have a discussion about what we think about the metric way of measuring length and the U.S. customary way of measuring length. We are the only country that uses this way, and if we memorize those numbers that I showed you earlier, then this way is not too much of a problem. However, it does involve you having to do some math, because we know that 12 inches is 1 foot, but these ones are the ones that get really confusing, because this, you have to remember this number is 1,760 yards in a mile, but there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And we have to know that to make our conversions. So you're going to be getting on Compass and doing an activity on Compass to practice your using customary measurements for length. All right, you're heading over to Compass.